The meeting of the Board of Education is reconvened. Madam Secretary, please proceed with the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will start with items from closed session, and I will begin with settlements. These items do require a vote. First report, workers' compensation, payment of lump sum settlement for Jeanette Acosta, case number 09WC 19925 and 09WC 19926. The second report is the workers' compensation, payment for lump sum settlement for Myrie Pearson, Jayanti, case number 09WC 46048. Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. I'll proceed with a roll call. Dr. Beenan?
Aye.
Vice President Reese?
Aye.
Ms. Sapp? I'm sorry, Ms. Pritzker?
Aye.
Ms. Sapp?
Yes.
President Vitale?
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays. I will continue with other matters. These items do require a vote, and they are: first report, debarment of Raphael Bogosian and Sherlan Bogosian. The second report, transfer and appoint Deputy General Counsel, Department of Law, James G. Cecil. Third report, transfer and appoint Deputy General Counsel, Department of Law, Ruchi Verma. Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, and I will continue with talent recommendations. These items do require a vote, and they are: first report, transfer and appoint Chief of Schools, Elementary Garfield Humboldt Network, Wanda Washington. The second report is approve appointment of Treasurer, Jeannie Huang. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will continue with warning resolutions, and these items do require a vote, and they are: Zoila Garcia, Principal, John Greenleaf Whittier Elementary School; Edward Leal, Tenured Teacher, Charles Gates Dawes Elementary School; Linda Leal, Tenured Teacher, Charles Gates Dawes Elementary School; Gwendolyn Edwards, Tenured Teacher, Citywide Position; Esther Lee, Tenured Teacher, Citywide Position; Joanne Winkler, Tenured Teacher, Citywide Position. Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will continue with one other item. This item does require a vote. Adopt finding that former pupil is a non-resident of the City of Chicago indebted to Chicago Public Schools for non-resident tuition. Mr. President, this item does require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will continue with items from the board. These items do require a vote, and they are: first report, resolution by the Board of Education of the City of Chicago regarding the dismissal of Julie A. Labno, tenured teacher assigned to Team Inglewood High School. And for the record, Mr. President, this resolution accepts the hearing officer's recommendation. Julie A. Labno is hereby dismissed. The second report is the resolution by the Board of Education of the City of Chicago regarding the dismissal of Kim David Tetzloff, tenured teacher assigned to Kennedy High School. And for the record, Mr. President, this resolution accepts the hearing officer's recommendation. Kim David Tetzloff is hereby dismissed. The third report is the resolution approving the Chief Executive Officer's recommendation to dismiss educational support personnel. The fourth report is the resolution approving the Chief Executive Officer's recommendation to dismiss probationary appointed teachers. And I would like to note for the record, Mr. President, that on November 7th, 2012, the board members and the Office of the Board received the CEO's recommendation to dismiss probationary appointed teachers pursuant to Board Rule 4-7B2B and 105 ILCS 5/34-84. Her recommendation included the names of the teachers affected and the reasons. She also noted that the teachers affected will be notified of their dismissal after adoption of the resolution. The fifth report is the resolution authorizing the honorable termination of regularly certified and appointed teachers. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
If there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I believe that Vice President Reese has a motion.
Yes, I move that the board adopt the minutes of the closed session meeting of October 24th, 2012, pursuant to Section 2.06 of the Open Meetings Act. Board members reviewed these minutes and determined that the need for confidentiality continues to exist. Therefore, the minutes of the closed session meeting held on October 24th, 2012 shall be maintained as confidential and not available for public inspection.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I'll proceed with the roll call. Dr. Beenan?
Aye.
Vice President Reese?
Aye.
Ms. Pritzker?
Aye.
Ms. Sapp?
Aye.
President Vitale?
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays, and I believe Board Member Zapp has a motion, please.
I move that the record of proceedings of the regular board meeting of October 24th, 2012, prepared by the board secretary, be approved, and such record of proceedings be posted on the district's website in accordance with Section 2.06B of the Open Meetings Act.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll proceed with a roll call, please. Dr. Beenan,
Aye.
Vice President Reese,
Aye.
Ms. Pritzker,
Aye.
Ms. Saab,
Aye.
President Vitale.
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays. Mr. President, I will now continue with items on the public agenda and only read the board report numbers since the titles and board reports appeared on the public agenda. I will begin with resolutions and a policy, and these items do require a vote. The resolutions are as follows: RS 1, 2, 3, RS 4. On RS 5, I would like to note for the record that RS 5 has been revised and the final will be in the action. RS 6, and for the record on the policy PO 1, Mr. President, I would like to note that PO 1 will be revised and the final will be in the action. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will continue with communications. These items do not require a vote. The first communication is CO1 regarding the location of the board meeting of December 19th, 2012. This is to advise that the regular meeting of the Board of Education scheduled for Wednesday, December 19th will be held at the Central Administration Building, 125 South Clark Street, Board Chamber, 5th floor. The board meeting will begin at 10:30 a.m. Please note that there is a new process for public registration. Visit www.cpsboe.org for more information. Public participation guidelines are available for the December 19th board meeting. For the December 19, 2012 board meeting, advanced registration will open on December 10th at 8 a.m. and end on December 14th at 5 p.m. You can advance register during the registration period by the following methods: online, phone, or in person. Also, for the December 19, 2012 board meeting, same-day registration will be available for the remaining speaking slots between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. on the first floor of the Clark Street lobby. As of January 2013, only advanced registration will be available for public participation. The public participation segment of the meeting will begin at the time indicated on the meeting agenda and proceed for no more than the 60 registered speakers for the 2 hours. The next communication, President Vitale, is CO2, and this is regarding the reappointment of trustee to serve on the Public Teachers Pension Fund and Retirement Fund of Chicago for board member Andrea L. Zapp. To the members of the Board of Education of the City of Chicago, I hereby reappoint Andrea L. Zapp to serve as a trustee on the Public School Teachers Pension and Retirement Fund of Chicago. Ms. Zapp's term will commence November 2012 and expire November 2014. Respectfully submitted, David J. Vitale, President. Mr. President, I will continue with additional items on the public agenda that do require a vote, and they are EX1, 2, ED1. I would like to note an abstention for ED1 for Vice President Reese. OP1, and I would like to note for the record an abstention for Vice President Reese on OP1. Moving on to AR1. And Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote with the noted abstentions.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will continue with additional items on the public agenda that require a vote, and they are PR1, 2, PR3, 4, 5. And Mr. President, for the record, I would like to note abstentions for Vice President Reese on the following board reports: PR 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Moving on to PR 11, 12. And Mr. President, for the record, I would like to note abstentions for Vice President Reese on PR 13 and PR 14. Moving on to PR 15, PR 16, and Mr. President, these items do require a vote.
Madam Secretary, if there are no objections from my fellow board members, please apply the last favorable roll call vote with the noted abstentions.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will continue with items that do not require a vote, and they are OP2. And Mr. President, for the record, I would like to note an abstention for Vice President Reese on OP2. Moving on to ED2 and AR2. Mr. President, these items just need to be accepted by the board.
please mark received and filed with the noted abstentions.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no further items on the public agenda. However, I will proceed with a statement to be read into the record regarding the estimate of taxes to be levied. President Vitale and members of the board, please be advised that I have received a report dated November 14, 2012 from the Chief Financial Officer pursuant to the authority delegated to him in Board Rule 5-14. This report estimates that the amount of money necessary to be raised by taxation upon the taxable property in the district as defined in Section 18-60 of the Property Tax Code is $2,209,600,000. The report also certifies that this estimated amount is less than the limit defined in Section 18-70 of the Code and specifies that the amount of the levies that will actually be used in 2013 will be determined in the FY 2014 budget process. Please let the record reflect that I am placing a copy of the Chief Financial Officer's report in the record of this meeting and will include the report of the official report of the proceedings of the board. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. If there being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.